Ever heard of the Illuminati? The name probably conjures up images of shadowy figures pulling the strings of world events, secret symbols hidden in plain sight, and a grand conspiracy spanning centuries. But what if I told you the real story is even more fascinating? And it all starts not with world domination, but with a 20-something professor in a small German state. Let's rewind the clock to 1776, a year famous for another revolution across the Atlantic. In Bavaria, a deeply conservative and Catholic region, a young man named Adam Weishaupt was about to light a fire. Weishaupt was a professor of canon law at the University of Ingolstadt. This might sound prestigious, but for a man of his intellect and ambition, it was stifling. He was the only non-clerical professor at a university dominated by Jesuits, a powerful Catholic order that had recently been suppressed, but whose influence still lingered everywhere. Weishaupt was a man of the Enlightenment. He devoured books by French philosophers who championed reason, liberty, and critical thinking. He believed that humanity could be perfected, freed from the shackles of superstition and tyranny, both religious and political. Looking around, he saw a world that was anything but enlightened. He saw ignorance, prejudice, and the abuse of power. He dreamed of a society where merit, not birthright, determined one's place, and where rational thought guided human progress. But how could one person change the world, especially when powerful institutions were designed to resist that very change? Weishaupt believed the answer lay in secrecy. If he couldn't challenge the establishment openly, he would undermine it from within. He needed a secret society, a vehicle to gather the brightest minds and slowly, carefully spread the ideals of the Enlightenment. He initially considered joining the Freemasons, another secret society with a long history. Freemasonry was already a network of influential men across Europe. However, Weishaupt was impatient. He found their rituals too esoteric and their progress too slow. More importantly, he couldn't afford the membership fees. So, he decided to build his own organization, one tailored precisely to his vision. On May 1st, 1776, in a forest near Ingolstadt, Adam Weishaupt and 4 of his most trusted students held a meeting. On that night, they founded a new secret order. They initially called themselves the Covenant of Perfectibilists. Doesn't exactly roll off the tongue, does it? They soon settled on a much more evocative name, the Illuminati. The word Illuminati literally means the enlightened ones. It perfectly captured their mission, to illuminate the minds of men with the light of reason and free them from darkness. The beginning, this grand project was incredibly small. Just Weishaupt and a handful of students. Their structure was modeled after the very order Weishaupt despised, the Jesuits. He admired their discipline, their hierarchical structure, and their methods of secretive recruitment and indoctrination. He would use the enemy's own tools against them. New members, known as novices, were carefully selected. They were typically young, intelligent, and influential men from good families, but who were dissatisfied with the status quo. Weishaupt sought out those who could one day occupy positions of power in government, education, and the church. The recruitment process was slow and methodical. A potential member would be observed for a long time without his knowledge. If deemed worthy, he would be cautiously approached by an existing member. Once initiated, the novice began a period of intense study and self-reflection. He had to submit detailed reports on his own character, his strengths, his weaknesses, his friends, his enemies, and even the books he read. This wasn't just about personal development. This information was sent up the chain of command to Weishaupt, who used it to build a psychological profile of each member. He wanted to understand their deepest motivations to better guide them more. Some might say, manipulate them. The goal was to mold them into perfect instruments for the order's cause. The structure of the Illuminati was a pyramid of secrecy. Members in the lower ranks knew very little about the true aims of the order or the identity of its leaders. They were told they were part of a society dedicated to virtue and self-improvement. Only as a member progressed through the higher degrees Minerval and Illuminated Minerval were the more radical ideas gradually revealed. Each member was given a classical code name, a nomen mysticum, to protect their identity. Weishaupt himself was Spartacus. After the Roman slave who led a famous rebellion, his closest confidant, Franz Xaver von Zewach, a lawyer at the court, was Cato. This wasn't just for security. It was a form of psychological immersion. By adopting the names of ancient heroes and philosophers, they saw themselves as continuing a long tradition of fighting for freedom against tyranny. For the first 2 years, from 1776 to 1778, the Illuminati grew, but slowly. It was a clandestine club of academics, students, and local officials, mostly confined to the area around Ingolstadt. They met in secret, used ciphers for their correspondence, and worked to place their members in minor positions of influence. They were an idealistic, ambitious, but ultimately small and localized group. Weishaupt knew that to have any real impact, he needed to expand. He needed to recruit more powerful and influential men. And that meant he had to find a way to tap into the largest network of secret societies already in existence, the Freemasons. This decision would dramatically change the fate of the Illuminati, setting it on a path to explosive growth and ultimately its own destruction. The quiet foundation had been laid, but the storm was just beginning to gather. Join us in Part 2 as we explore how the Illuminati infiltrated Freemasonry, sparking a period of rapid expansion that drew the attention of powerful enemies and set the stage for the conspiracy theories that echo to this day. You won't want to miss it. Let's rewind to 1779. The Order of the Illuminati, founded just 3 years earlier by Adam Weishaupt, was still a small, exclusive group of intellectuals in Bavaria. Their goal was ambitious: to perfect human nature and society, freeing the world from the grip of oppressive state and religious authorities. Weishaupt, a professor of canon law, believed that through reason and secret education, humanity could govern itself without princes or priests. It was a radical idea, and to succeed, it had to remain hidden in the shadows. Their breakthrough moment came with the recruitment of Baron Adolf von Kiene. In 1780, Kiene was a master networker, a charismatic diplomat, and a high-ranking Freemason. He saw the potential in Weishaupt's vision, but found the order's structure clunky and its appeal limited. Weishaupt's system was academic, rigid, and honestly, a bit boring. Niga knew that to attract the movers and shakers of Europe, the dukes, the generals, the influential thinkers, the Illuminati needed a serious upgrade. So, Niga got to work. He completely redesigned the Illuminati's recruitment strategy and internal structure. He cleverly linked the Illuminati's degrees to those of Freemasonry, creating a secret society within a secret society. He told prospective members that the Illuminati held the true secrets that Freemasonry only hinted at. This was a genius move. Masonic lodges were social hubs for the elite across Europe. By tapping into this network, Kniga opened the floodgates. Suddenly, the Illuminati weren't just a handful of Bavarian professors anymore. Their membership expanded. They recruited prominent figures like Duke Ferdinand of Brunswick, the writer Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, and many other influential nobles, military officers, and politicians. By 1782, the order had spread from Bavaria across the German states into Austria, Switzerland, and beyond. It seemed like Weishaupt's dream was finally within reach. The order was growing in power and influence, with its members strategically placed in courts, universities, and administrative offices. But with rapid growth came growing pains. and this is where the cracks began to show. The two architects of this success, Weishaupt and Kiniga, had fundamentally different visions for the order. Weishaupt, the founder, wanted to maintain absolute control. He was the secret puppet master, the one who held all the strings. He believed only he knew the ultimate purpose of the order, and that members should be guided, step by step, without knowing the full picture. For him, secrecy and control were everything. Kiniga, on the other hand, was more of a pragmatist. He had recruited these powerful men with the promise of shared power and enlightenment. He believed the leading members should have a say in the order's direction. He argued that you couldn't attract powerful dukes and thinkers only to treat them like pawns and Weishaupt as personal gain. He wanted a more collaborative leadership, a council of Areopagites to govern the order. This ideological clash quickly turned into a bitter power struggle. Weishaupt, operating from his university town of Ingolstadt, would send secret directives to members, often bypassing Kiniga, traveling across Europe and doing the hard work of recruitment, felt undermined and disrespected. Their letters to each other became increasingly hostile. Weishaupt accused Kiniga of being ambitious and reckless. Kiniga accused Weishaupt of being a despotic, paranoid tyrant. The very thing the Illuminati was founded to fight tyranny and absolute control was now festering within its own leadership. This conflict created an atmosphere of intense suspicion. Members began to wonder who was really in charge. Were they following Weishaupt or Kiniga? What were the true, ultimate secrets of the order? Weishaupt's insistence on total secrecy meant that even high-ranking members felt like they were being kept in the dark. Paranoia became the order's defining feature. Weishaupt had designed a system of surveillance where members were required to submit detailed reports on the character, habits, and weaknesses of their fellow brothers. This was meant to ensure loyalty and help the order guide each member's moral development. But in the context of the leadership struggle, it turned into a weapon. Members spied on each other, unsure of who to trust. Was the brother sitting next to you in a lodge meeting a true friend, or a spy reporting back to Weishaupt? This internal rot was happening at the worst possible time. The sheer speed of the Illuminati's expansion had made them careless. Their existence, once a closely guarded secret, was becoming an open secret in the courts of Germany. Rumors began to spread about a secret society plotting to overthrow governments and abolish Christianity. The Bavarian authorities, already deeply conservative and suspicious of Enlightenment ideas, started to pay close attention. The tipping point came in 1783. A former member, a man named Joseph Uchneider, was kicked out of the order. Bitter and disillusioned, he was filled with resentment, particularly towards Weishaupt. He, along with other disgruntled ex-members, began to talk. They started feeding information to the Bavarian government and religious authorities. They painted a picture of a sinister organization with terrifying ambitions. While they often exaggerated, their testimony contained enough truth to be believable. They revealed the Illuminati's secret oaths, their hierarchical structure, and their supposed plan to infiltrate all levels of society. They exposed the internal spying system and the psychological manipulation used to control members. For the authoritarian government of Elector Karl Theodor of Bavaria, this was confirmation of their worst fears. A secret group was operating right under their noses, aiming to dismantle the very foundations of their power. The internal conflict between Weishaupt and Kiniga had left the order vulnerable and disorganized. When the external threat finally materialized, they were too busy fighting each other to mount an effective defense. Kiniga, completely fed up with Weishaupt's paranoia and control, officially resigned from the order in 1784. He published pamphlets defending his own actions and exposing the internal chaos, which only added more fuel to the fire. With Kiniga gone, Weishaupt was left alone to face the storm. But it was too late. In 1784, the Bavarian government issued its first edict banning all secret societies. In 1785, a second, more specific edict was issued, explicitly naming and outlawing the Order of the Illuminati. The crackdown was swift and brutal. Government agents raided the homes of known members, seizing documents, letters, and ritual instructions. These seized documents were the final nail in the coffin. The government published them for all to see, revealing the order's inner workings, its radical goals, and its cynical methods. The publications caused a massive public scandal across Europe. The Illuminati were portrayed as godless conspirators, a threat to civilization itself. Weishaupt was fired from his university post and forced to flee Bavaria, living the rest of his life in exile. Members were hunted down, losing their jobs and social standing. The order, once a beacon of Enlightenment hope for its members, collapsed completely. So, in the end, what destroyed the Illuminati? It wasn't just the Bavarian government. The seeds of their destruction were sown from within. It was the clash between Weishaupt's utopian idealism and Koenige's political pragmatism. It was the hubris of believing they could control society through secrets and manipulation. And most of all, it was the crushing paranoia that turned brother against brother. The very tools they used to build their order, secrecy, surveillance, and psychological control, became the instruments of its downfall. The dream of a world ruled by reason collapsed into a witch hunt, leaving behind only a legend that continues to fascinate and frighten us to this day. Thanks for watching. If you found this deep dive into history interesting, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more stories from the hidden corners of the past. Let me know in the comments what you think really led to the Illuminati's end. See you next time.